Moderation, close. Orientation is locked. Rotate. Oh, okay. Okay, you guys know that I am not a techie. So, all right. How's everybody doing? I'm doing wonderful. I made myself go to the gym this morning. Took a shower, but you know, after you go to the gym, your metabolism is still super high. So hopefully I won't be sweating everywhere. I have the AC going, both the central and in the bedroom. In Panama, a lot of places do not have central AC. So you're gonna have to, oh, there we go. Sometimes you have to use the individual units in the room. All right, let's see. Today I am going to make chakalaka, which is something I had in, oops, hang on. It's something that is in the fabric of South African cuisine. And I think my host mom, who is the person I was staying with in in South Africa, she made it once. Sorry guys, still trying to get this camera to look all right. Yep. Good morning, buenos dias. I am going to wash these, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. Hang on. So you guys probably know that I am mostly plant-based right now. And I think I told a story as to how it happened. Good morning, hola, Temple Moore. Just like that, I'm here, Michelle. Buenos dias. This is a first, so I'm gonna try to make this and hopefully it will work out. But anyway, I don't know. I think I need to tell some people my Single Women Retiring Abroad Facebook account. It says I don't have so many subscribers yet, so you have to go to my page, Maggie Lazar, Maggie, and then Lazar, Lazarre. Then you can go live. Hello. But on YouTube, I got you there. So the story is, in 2020, I had COVID in 2020. And then after COVID, it looked like I was just gaining the weight. And I remember when I went in the hospital, I was still, over what I needed to be. And I kept saying, maybe when I go to the hospital, I'll come back thinner. That didn't happen. COVID did the opposite. After COVID, I'm just peeling some carrots because we're going to shred them. And I was like, I need to do something. And I've always been somewhat health conscious by, I work out maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I was watching what I ate. I was mostly low carbs, but I was eating my chicken and my fish, which I love. And I just could not get rid of the weight. And people who see my pictures from even after I had my 3rd child, I look so much better. I lost the weight, and then menopause hit. Listen, if you are pre or perimenopause, do everything you can to keep your weight under control. Because once you go over that, wow, it is hard to get back, okay? And getting the weight on was bad enough. But as a nurse practitioner, I know obesity, what it does to you, right? It increases your risk of diabetes. And once you have diabetes, it starts a cascade of other health problems. Diabetes is one of the worst diseases you can have because it affects every organ in your body, your heart, your brain. So anyway, this is not a course on diabetes, right? But there is something we call um, metabolic syndrome. I think they call it something different now. Metabolic syndrome means that your body, your metabolism is not where it used to be. Because as women, as long as you have estrogen in your body, estrogen is that hormone that keeps everything situated, regulated, and once that estrogen plummets in menopause, then your metabolism said, I'm going to sleep. So what that means is you need to eat, you need less to burn the same amount of calories. So when you go to menopause, you should reverse that equation. You need to eat less and exercise more because you don't have that metabolism to help you burn those calories. Oh my God. So, I was still trying to, do something. Like Michelle Obama said, do something. So I went to see this friend. No, she wasn't a friend. She's a provider. And then my weight had gone to 203. This is someone, my ideal weight was 155. This is the weight that I feel the most comfortable at. 203. My LDL, my LDL was 190 something. And I don't want to talk about what the recommendations are because I was a cardiology nurse and all these numbers, don't get caught up in all that. But when you have multiple things happening at one time, then that's when you need to say, uh-oh, I need to do something. My cholesterol was I think it was 290 something too. But I think it was the A1C, which is what we measure for diabetes. That's the one that kind of scared me. Because I do have diabetes running in my family. Not my mom, but I have aunts and uncles with it. And I knew I was at risk. And that's another thing. You need to know your family history to know what your risk factors are for certain diseases, whether it's diabetes, hypertension, strokes, cancers, psychiatric problem. Do you know that if you have a family history of depression, that you're more at risk? And as women, we have babies, there is postpartum depression. There is so much we can talk about, guys. So I want you to tell me if you want me to talk about certain topics. But anyway, we're cooking while we're chatting, right? So I looked at her and I said, okay, this is not going to work. I have to do something, right? Do something. And I did not want to go on medication. And then, of course, because now they're saying all these lipid-lowering drugs like Lipitor, they're bad for you. I said, no, I don't want it. I'm not doing it. And then this nurse practitioner, she's like, what are we going to do, Miss Maggie? I said, okay. I said, I have tried low carb. I do work out. Nothing's working. I said, I'm just going to have to go plant-based. I know I can do vegan because I don't believe in all the vegan philosophy of killing animals and stuff. I don't believe in all that. I said, I'm going to have to go plant-based and try to eliminate the meat and eat mostly grains, not a lot of grains because of my carb sensitivity. I do have a carb sensitivity. Again, once you hit menopause, all kinds of things show up. Allergies, you're sensitive to this, you're sensitive to that, things you never used to have before. Menopause is something. So that's what I did. And I remember it was October 17th. If I remember, it was the exact date, 2022. 2022. I said, I am going on a whole food plant base. I started reading about it. And the first thing I did, I went to my kitchen. You have to go into your cupboard. You go into your, what do you call this, where you keep all your stuff? The pantry. And you need to start throwing things away. That's what I did. I went in there. I wasn't a chips kind of person, snacks, but everything else that, and then whole food plant-based really means eliminating processed foods. Okay? So those of you who love cured meats, your hams, your turkeys, no bueno. Any kinds of snacks in bags like pretzels and chips, no bueno. And the thing is, it's not like you want to say, oh, okay, I'm going to decrease it. What you need to do is get rid of it. Because if it's not there, like for me, if it's not there, I won't eat it. Because I don't have any self-control. I'm sure some of you can relate. I'm like, I need to get rid of this. So that's what I did. I cleaned out my pantry. I was already minimizing how much rice, because, you know, I'm Caribbean. My belly button was cut with rice. We ate rice all day, every day. But I realized when I ate rice, the next day my face was puffy, my belly was big. I never have it down here, it's always here. One thing that is so funny, you know, sometimes when you go to menopause and I have a full length mirror in my bedroom. That is not a good idea. After you shower and you take a peek and you're like, oh my God. Have you ever seen those late night Walmart pictures? I'm turning into one, this is not good. But anyway, I digress. You know, I'm going to crack up anyway. So I got rid of all the stuff that was tempting. So I went to the store. We had a Caribbean store in Orlando that I used to love to go to. There you can get. And then right across from it was an Asian store. So what I didn't find in one, I found at the other. So I loaded up on greens and veggies. And in terms of roots, of course, because of my carb sensitivity, I didn't have any potatoes. White potatoes turned to sugar. But I love sweet potatoes. And again, in that plant-based lifestyle, you almost eliminate oils. You should eliminate sugar. You have to go on a sugar fast, okay? And don't substitute, you know, the sugar substitute stevia for sugar because, you know, they're not that great anyway. So I did that. And then I said, I am going to exercise every day because I felt I was at a place where it was dangerous for me to keep this weight on. I was like 40 pounds over. It's like, no. Because, you know, when I got married, I weighed 119 pounds. Can you relate? After my marriage, I gained some weight and I got up to 125. That's the weight that I was incognito. I'm sorry, I'm in Panama, you guys, so the connection sometimes will go. But don't log off, it's gonna come back, okay? So I started working out. I had not gone back to the gym after COVID. I was like touching all this equipment, ooh, kind of grossed me out. So I did not go back to the gym, but I had weights at home and I can walk. So that's what I did. There's a little path, I had to drive like 10 minutes to get to it. I was there every single day. I did one turn and I did two turns. And then I started trying to run a little bit. I say it's a trot because it's really not running because I'm not gonna hurt my joints. When you get to be a certain age, you gotta protect your joints. So don't try to be like the athletes, okay? And then there was like a little hill. After a week or two, I started making myself go up the hill. And then before you know it, I was almost running up the hill. Guys, the weight started to come off, okay? I got to Panama in January 2023. So that was October 22, right? November, December, January. That was 3 months. Guess what? I had lost 42 pounds. So that's why when somebody's talking about whole food plant-based, I got nothing to say. I said it worked for me. But you have to be disciplined. And another video we could do is about how to go about it, right? Because some people cannot go do cold turkey. You can go in stages. Start to reduce the things that you feel you're most addicted to. If it's sugar, attack sugar first. Start to pull back. Sodas, there is nothing good about drinking canned sodas. It's full of sugar and nothing else. All right? I know somebody, a nurse, I mean, she knows. She wakes up in the morning, instead of a cigarette, she grabs a Diet Coke. And in her mind, she's thinking she's doing good, but it's not, because she was addicted to that substance, whatever is in there. So, hi, Jessie, Michelle, Martha, hello. So that's what I did. So I want you, if you are concerned about your health or you're struggling with not being able to get rid of stubborn weight, because when I was younger, my 3 kids, I kind of got back to my previous weight, sort of, because I kind of kept like 5-6 pounds after each child. So I was like 135, 140 by the time I had my second child. And then once I started perimenopause and menopause, it was like, it started creeping on. And you don't notice it until you start to, button your pants and you're like, uh-oh, what happened? What happened? It creeps on you. And even now, I have to be disciplined. Do I cheat? Of course I cheat. I posted the picture of that bakery. I'm telling you, yesterday I was so proud. And it's a daily struggle for me because Panama and all Central and Latin America, they are big on the pastries, the empanadas. They, I'm not in Paris, but they make croissants here, pain au chocolat, the chocolate croissants, and all kinds of other things. So knowing I don't have any self-control, I just have to stay away. That's all I can do. Let me see on YouTube. Who do we have? Brighten on the camera. Oh, how do I do that? Girl, you're talking to somebody who is not. Hey, Aisha. My neighbor. She's watching. And I'll be watching you at 12. Is that better? Is the camera better? Because this one is underneath the thing in the kitchen. Let me see. Maybe I'll move it. Now, if I lose you, please forgive me. All right. Those of you who can't see on Facebook, just go to YouTube. YouTube is okay. All right. So, yeah, just attack it one ingredient at a time. If it's sugar, start, eating less sugar because sugar is addictive. It's addictive. So yesterday I went to Reba Smith, which is another one of those food stores that I talked to you about. That, every single food store in Panama has an eatery where you can buy food and pastries. I'm telling you. So if you're Panamanian, if you tell a Panamanian they can have pastry and coffee, I don't know if they can survive because el café con el pan, that's what they eat. And then we go to the arroz. I'm going to be doing a series on food. Let me tell you, the food doesn't help you here in Panama because you got to be careful. All right, let's see. I think I'll do the other one. That was 2 carrots. All right. Let's get off the medical subject. Just like I said, I want to encourage you, if you're struggling with your weight, consider whole food, plant-based, low oil, low sugar. But there is also something you have to understand. Protein, you need protein for metabolism, for everything in your body, okay? When you eliminate, and we can talk about that later, when you eliminate protein, like I'm not eating chicken, I'm eating fish now, but when I first started and I wanted to get rid of that weight, there was no animal product, okay? No fish. I wasn't a beef eater, no chicken. So you have to replace it, right? So I became really friends with garbanzo bean and chickpeas because they're telling me they have protein. So I used to eat that a lot, and then I started cooking my own garbanzo, and I buy this little thing, and then I cook it, and I put some aromatics like carrot, celery, of course garlic, and then they are the best. So unless I'm cheating, I don't have time, or I don't have the garbanzos, then I'll buy a can of chickpeas. So you need to be careful about replacing your protein. So go on Google plant protein, and it will tell you things like green peas, broccoli, and of course your legumes, which are lentils and garbanzos. Those have a moderate amount of protein. Still not to the same level as a piece of beef, but people who are vegan, you have to find ways to replace it. So talk about the legumes, the beans, find out which vegetables have protein, and you have to replace the vitamin B12 because vitamin B12 is vital for your body, and you get that in animal protein. So if you're not eating meat, you have to replace it. So for me, in terms of supplement, I take a vitamin B12 every day. I had some lab work last year, and I realized I had some things that were not really stabilized. So I started taking folate. B12 and folate tend to go together. I take vitamin C, and that helps, keep you healthy, don't get infection. Because I had COVID. You know my story. I had COVID in 21, and once you had COVID, I am grateful that my body didn't go crazy because the long COVID is a real thing. People are still struggling with the effect of COVID, right? Mentally, in their belly, some people end up with like a tube. I mean, it's insane, the stories. But I was lucky. I wasn't even on the machine to breathe, but there was some damage to my lungs because I saw the x-ray. It was white, which is not supposed to be when I was being admitted. So I had to protect myself from getting cold. So I went and got my flu shot, and I have to be careful. So I take vitamin C, I take magnesium. Vitamin D here in Panama, you get plenty of that because with the sun, okay? Even though you have to protect yourself with your screen and all, you need a certain amount of sunlight, at least every day. So I like to go out every day, but when I don't go out, I take a vitamin D tablet. Let's see, what else do I take? A multivitamin, and I take calcium with D, with vitamin D. So, as you get older, you got to replenish. If your diet is not full of all the nutrients you need a little bit of help. Just don't overdo it, because I used to go, when I did home health, go see some patients, and people sit there and watch the prices right. They're older, nothing to do. That's what I said. Get out of the house, do something. And then they respond to these ads, for the supplement, and then they have boxes and boxes of this stuff. Your body is designed to synthesize, to absorb what they need. And if they don't need it and you give too much, they get rid of it. So a lot of the stuff people are taking, it's going out of them without even being, absorbed. So don't overdo it. Temple Moore, Aileen Brown, hello. Sunflower butter, good. Hi. Okay, impressive, Maggie. Oh, well, thank you. All right. So, we talked about my plant-based lifestyle. We talked about how to go about it slowly. And if you want me to help you, I'm happy to do that. You need to move, exercise several times a week. I have no excuse. I have a gym. I went today. I can walk along the path across from my building. Whatever you need to do, whether it's swimming, boxing, yoga is good too, because you got to stretch those joints. All right. So now let's talk food, okay? I don't know if you guys know, but I did go to Cordon Bleu, and I am a trained chef. I When I left nursing, I decided to go, and I think I alluded to that in my last video. I was like, I'm going to open a restaurant, I'm going to start small, and that's going to be my last song. I'm going to make it, successful. I'm going to have branches all over the country. Didn't quite happen like that. Owning a restaurant was something I really didn't know a lot about. I had owned businesses, and I thought the same mindset of business, you could translate that into a restaurant. I was wrong, because it's a whole different animal. Owning a home health company and taking care of patients is not the same as cooking. When you have a restaurant, you have very low margins in terms of profit, lots of expenses, and then you're dealing with a group of staff that they are so, what's the word I use? Dysfunctional. There's a lot of alcoholism in that group. There's a lot of drug addiction in that group. So many times they would call off because after their work, they go to the bar and do all kinds of things. If you had a chance to read Anthony Bourdain, the one who killed himself, how dysfunctional, he was talking about his first year as a chef. People doing coke line on the, in the kitchen, having sex with each other in the cooler. It's insane. It's wild. Now, for somebody like me who's like, what behind the ears? It was an eye-opener, okay? So, I can tell you the story later on, but I ended up having to close that cafe. But what I liked I've always loved to cook. But when you go to culinary school, it's like you get the classical way you get the why. Why do we do this? Why do we do that? So cooking for me is therapy, okay? I don't drink, I don't smoke, and God knows I don't do drugs. So when I'm sad or I'm upset, the kitchen is my happy place. But when you become whole food plant-based, woo, you are limited. So this is where your creativity comes in. So I call my Facebook page my plant-based creation, because that's what I do. I go in my cupboard, I look and see what I have. What can I create with that? And that's what you need to develop this. But what you need to understand, you need to get the basics of cooking. You need to understand the basics of cooking. First of all, cleanliness. Hand washing is really paramount, and cross-contamination is something you have to keep in mind, because people could die, and that's why people get sick. When you go to a shoddy restaurant that doesn't have a chef who is keeping an eye on how things are done in the back of the house, I say whenever you go to a restaurant, you put your life in that person's hand, because you don't know how they're treating your food. What comes to you at the table, you don't know how it was prepared. You don't know what the sanitation is behind. So I'm not a fan of going out, seriously, because I'm like, I can cook my own food, and if I cook it, I know how it's cooked, and I know I'm not gonna get sick. That's why we don't eat on the side of the road. I see people offering fish. I'm like, what? You eating? You're getting fish from the back of the van? No, you could kill yourself. And things like clams and stuff, don't do that, guys. E. coli that you can get in beef and chicken can kill you. Salmonella can kill you, okay? So be careful. The other day, I did go to one of I think I was close to Via Argentina, which is a metro stop here. And they were selling fresh coconut water. And I'm like, oh Lord, I need to try that. See, because the cooler was looking a little. But when you move to a new country also, you slowly acclimate yourself to the food, because it's just like taking a kid to daycare. They have to be exposed to the bugs, get sick a couple of times, and then you develop, resistance to it. Yeah. But even when I was in South Africa, I would not eat on the side of the road. And I was not sick one time in South Africa. If it's not cooked, I didn't cook it, I didn't eat it. Okay? Alright. So, cleanliness, no cross-contamination. Even in my kitchen here, I have a board. I don't eat meat anymore, but if I was eating meat, I have a board when I cook for meat, and then I clean it, and then I could do vegetables. But anything with salads and stuff or fruit, I have another board. Because I don't want my pineapple to taste like onion, for example, right? So this is for my fruit, this is for my veggies. Does that make sense to you? That cooler was looking suspect. It was. And then the young man, of course, not wearing gloves. And the first time I went there, and I'm like, can you rinse that machete? Because, they use a machete to open it. And he looked at me funny. I was like, yeah, I don't want to get sick. But I had my water, and I was okay. All right. So no cross-contamination. If you're still you're cooking chicken, after you use your board with the chicken, you cut it up, take it to the sink, wash it with hot soap water, wash your hands. This is where the contamination goes from meat to veggies to fruit. You can get sick. I was watching a cooking show, one of those Master Chef thing. It was in Canada, and there was a chef there. They were saying, he is so well known. He has written books, gotten some awards, and I used to watch a lot of that show, of course. And that chef was cooking, doing a dish with chicken. So he's talking to the judges, and he cut the chicken breast, and without missing a beat, he grabbed a head of lettuce, and he started chopping. And I was like, and everybody was like, what's happening? What's happening? He totally forgot to clean his board or change his board, take his glove off, wash his hands, and he cooked the whole meal. They didn't say anything. And then he presented his meal, his dish to the chef. And they looked at him, they said, I'm sorry, chef, but we can't eat your food because you cross-contaminated way early in the process. I was so embarrassed for him. And I knew he had a bad day. So don't do that. Even in your own home, just keep that in mind. Now, I don't use gloves when I am at home, but there is something we used to call, when I was in school, RTE, ready to eat food. You always wear gloves. So salads and stuff. So you see chefs not using gloves, and I don't like when they're always touching my food. I personally don't like that. But in your home, you don't have to wear gloves, okay? As long as you keep your hands clean. Those hands, they can heal and they can kill. Let me wash my hands. All right. So today I thought we could make chakalaka. Chakalaka is a dish. I was in South Africa for 3 months last year. And this is a dish, it's a side dish. When you're in South Africa, you hear something called braai all the time. When they say braai, it's pollo asado here. It's grilled meat. Well, not just pollo. Over there, they eat a lot of beef. Okay? So, it's a side dish. It's like a chutney, right? But you can, depending on where in South Africa you're from, you may make it a little bit differently. But it is a side dish that has peppers. I do a lot of vegetable dishes, but this one has peppers and white beans. So I decided to do that yesterday, so I don't have fresh cooked beans. So we're gonna make an exception today and eat and use some cannellini bean. You put the shredded carrot is important, and then you have, I like to use the trio of peppers just for color. And then that is a side dish. So when they have the grilled meat, they put it on the side. And when I was in South Africa, I bought it in a can a lot. And one recipe, anybody here ever made chakalaka? Salmonella salad. Bring in the camera. Oh, Marie Pascal, how are you, my friend? I haven't seen you in so long. I miss you. All right, these are my friends from Florida. You know what? This channel that I have, Single Women Retiring Abroad, and I'll tell you the story a little bit later, all about how I came to, you know, how Single Women Retiring Abroad came about. It's kind of a twisted story. But I find that with this channel, I'm allowed to do this with you guys, right? Because this is not about single women. Yep, that internet is playing with me again. Pop is, you know how we eat a lot of rice here in Panama? Over there it's pap. Pap is like a cornmeal maize thing that has been pulverized and purified, and they add some vitamins to it. They cook it like fufu in Ghana. So they have the water and they pour the cornmeal in, and then they whisk it. There's a certain way to whisk it, because that lady was like, no, not like that. And they have a special wooden spoon that they boom, 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 boom. Just that I cooked it for them one time, and they said, oh, you're good. So I tried. But pap is so prevalent. Pap for breakfast. Pap for, and breakfast, they don't eat breakfast like that in South Africa. Breakfast is tea and bread, where I was, in the village. Tea and bread for breakfast. Then they'll eat maybe some leftovers for lunch, and dinner was the big meal. And in South Africa, people don't go to a table and sit and eat as a family. Everybody goes to the kitchen, they get their food, and they sit in the living room, hold the plate while they watch TV. Talk about culture. That's why when you go to another place, you got to observe. Now, the Peace Corps does a good job getting you acclimated to the history of the country, but they didn't tell me about that. So when I finish cooking and I'm eating and I'm like, where's everybody? Everybody's sitting in front of the TV. I was like, oh my God. Okay. So that particular chakalaka that I used to love to buy had mango in it. Ooh, I can't wait to make one with mango. This one won't have mango, but you're gonna do the onion, the garlic, and if you are learning to cook, Aisha, I know it's not for you. You tell me you don't cook. But you always start your peppers. You always start your food with the base, onions and garlic, okay? If it's not white rice, you start with those. Fresh garlic, okay? Please do not tell me you're gonna be using natural flavors to flavor your food, okay? Please don't use bouillon, better than bouillon. Remember, that's all processed food. And if they are going to make anything and make it last, what do? They put additives to make it last longer. Remember the thing about the burger that's been there for a year and didn't change? If that doesn't creep you out, I don't know what will. All right, so we're doing the peppers and the onion. Okay, one thing we're gonna, it's a side dish. What can I eat with it? I was gonna go and get a loaf of French bread, and you can cut them up, and then you do herb oil, you have olive oil. In Panama, we have a host of really good olive oil. Now, even though I am plant-based, whole food plant-based, I am not one of these people that's gonna tell you, no salt, no oil. I can't eat like that, I'm sorry. I do a little bit, but to tell me I'm gonna cook a dish with not one drop of oil, I'm not doing that. You need oil for your skin. You need oil for your cells to grow. So don't tell me no oil. Mm-mm. Because you know the Mediterranean diet has been around forever and it's been proven to be beneficial, and they use lots of olive oil. Like sardines and stuff like that are good for you. So last year when I did my lab work, I realized some of my labs were a little bit upside down, and I realized I needed to add some level of protein in my diet. That's why I did the B12, and I'm doing vitamin C, and I did the folate. So now I've started eating fish maybe once a month. If I go to the fish market, I'll have it maybe for a week, and I love sardines. So that's why I would love to go to Portugal. Apparently they have fresh sardines. All right, so onions, and I was able to find habanero pepper at Abroad, and I was so excited. These are the hot peppers. So when you are cooking, let's say you're doing a stew and whatever, just throw one of those in there whole. Don't let it cook out, it's gonna be too hot. But the flavor from the skin of the pepper just elevates the dish. It's a Caribbean little tip, okay? So I am going to cook some black quinoa to have my chakalaka with. So I'm gonna start with the quinoa right now because it's gonna take a little bit longer to cook. So when you have the chakalaka, you can do any kind of grains. If you're into rice, you can have rice. You can have quinoa. You can have, what is it? There's another one that I used one time. Couscous you can have. And then another thing that I started doing, I bought some pita bread. So you can cut them and fill them with the chakalaka. I'll show you one of those. Or you could make chips with them. You could make chips, pita chips. And then with the pita chips, you can use them to scoop like guacamole, you know, anything that you need. So the chakalaka will be perfect for that. So I am going to cook the black quinoa first. And quinoa is very easy to cook. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, you see that pan right there? And I just put a little bit of oil. And like I say, I don't use a lot, but I allow myself to use a little bit of oil. I have some Himalayan salt. I'm gonna put a little bit. Alright. Okay. And all I'm gonna do is cut that. This is the black quinoa. Just put it in there. Now, when you're cooking rice, remember the 2-to-1 ratio. 2 parts water to 1 part rice. Okay? But the quinoa does not need as much. So, keep that in mind. Okay. You know, I get to the point where I can hire a photographer. That'd be great. All right. Now, in my building, we have all electric, and I love it because I don't have to worry about when they're doing the gas check and people are without gas for like weeks at a time because they shut down the whole building. It's a little much, but so I like this one because we don't have that. Okay, so we're gonna let this one heat up. We're gonna put a little bit of oil, onions, garlic. So I'm having a lot of people coming into Panama, calling and wanting to meet. And I know those of you who do that, you understand, it does get to be a little bit much. So I'm gonna have to learn how to, you know, manage my time because, I mean, I want to help, but I can't be in different places at the same time. All right, I had a half of a red onion, so I'm putting that in there. And again, whatever you have in your pantry, you want to use it, okay? In Panama, we don't have to buy a lot of things ahead of time. You know, that was a challenge for me to understand in the beginning, that I don't have to go to the store and buy a whole week's worth of food. You don't need to do that here because things go bad rather quickly. When I buy, I found bok choy yesterday. Oh, I love bok choy. It's an Asian thing that it kind of works like spinach, but it is so good. So I bought some, but I have to keep in the back of my mind that you need to use it quick, Maggie, because otherwise it goes bad. And I don't know about you, but I have this thing from my mother. I can't waste food. I feel really bad. Remember the little starving kids in Africa? I don't know about you, my mother used to give me that all the time. Eat your food. And that doesn't help us as we become adults in terms of eating. You know, I heard a judge, you know, doing judge work, that's not good because it's sedentary. You sit all the time. And this guy was obese, okay? And he said he had tried every diet under the sun until he said, okay, I'm gonna start eating a half of everything that they put on my plate. And that's what he did. And that's how he lost like over 100 pounds. So the idea of having to finish your plate everywhere all the time is not good. In fact, one tip for somebody trying to lose weight is to eat until you're satisfied. When your brain tells you you're hungry, another tip is ignore it the first time. Get some water. You start working, your brain says, oh, you're hungry. If you can't, go eat then. But if you can again, get some water. That's why intermittent fasting is working. Because when you deprive your body of food for hours, it does a reset. It cleanses, it regenerates your cells. So if you can do intermittent fasting, go into 2 meals a day, and then eat good, healthy food, drink lots of water. Get rid of the sodas, please, please, please. And do you know that fruit juices are no better? I haven't had orange juice in so long. I don't drink orange juice. Sometimes, I don't know. I think they have mandarin over here that are really nice. You get like 6, 7 per dollar. And I think once or twice since I've been here, I had some. Because I go to a place called Merca, Panama. If you know about Merca, Panama, I did a video on it. It's where you got all this fruit and vegetables. And I go there and I lose my mind. Because everything is so fresh and it's colorful. And I'm like, I want to buy all those things, but I can't carry it. And it's going to go bad. Right? So go to the little neighborhood fruiteria and your little fruit stand and buy it that way, but don't overdo it. But that's how you lost some weight. So you cook your onions until they're soft, right? Now when I'm talking to you, I forgot to put to chop my garlic. Let me turn the heat down a bit. Oh, quinoa is ready. The water is ready. I don't need to wash this, okay? So I'm gonna put my quinoa in here. Ooh. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So that judge was able to lose some weight by just eating half of the food on his plate. I wish I could do that, but no, I'm not there. One of the things that I struggle with is if I like something, I eat it until it's gone. So that's why when I go to the store and I fall for the croissants and the pastries, it's a bad day. Yesterday I was good though. I survived. I went, I looked, I mean, I was standing in front of that thing, you know, struggling with myself. My mind is saying, Maggie, you know you don't, you shouldn't be looking at these pastries, and they look good, and the bread, they have French bread there. Ooh. I don't know if some of you know, I am of Haitian background, and we French Haitian, right? So we are very, um, French architecture, French culture, French food, we're very versed in that. So when you talk about French bread, croissants, oh yeah. I think the wine is probably the only thing we did not pick up. Because as a Caribbean, they drink soda. Oh my God. My mom had a little bodega, a little fruit store. And we used to make lemonade. And we had an alcoholic drink we call clairin. If you're Haitian, you know what I'm talking about. It's made from sugar cane. And then they would make the lemonade and put a shot of that in there. Mm, good. Good, good, good. And of course, Haitian rum is like one of the best. I remember the first time I had Haitian rum. I think maybe I was 16. Somebody spiked my Coke. I remember speaking French. When that clearly hit the alcohol, yeah, that's what I said. If I get drunk, that's what I do. I speak French. Somebody said, I'd love to see that. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't want to see that. So now, there's this big thing in the news about alcohol, how bad it is for you. And of course, a lot of ladies are like, yeah, we relax and we drink wine. You can have it in moderation. I'm a proponent of you can have anything in moderation. Just don't overdo it, okay? Your body is not designed. All right, so we got our, okay. So now we are going, I think I'm going to put the carrots in first because the peppers probably are not going to take that long. All right. One major skill of a cook is to learn to control temperature and timing. Because when you're cooking a dish, you need to know when to add this, when to add that, so that one item doesn't overcook and then the other one is raw. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes you kind of have to know, when do I add this, when do I add that? Now the carrot is shredded, of course, so it's not going to take a long time. So now I'm going to season, okay? With my seasoning, I do fresh ground pepper. I love pepper. I even put pepper like this in my smoothies. Apparently it's good for your metabolism. That's why if you have cayenne, you add cayenne to your smoothies. Good. Cinnamon, cayenne, turmeric, always put those in your smoothies. And I even put apple cider vinegar because I just can't drink that in water. I try, I gag. So now I can just put it in my smoothie and it disappears and I can have the benefit of it. One thing I do also, guys, to keep my, oh, what's happening to my other phone? Oh, it's not, oh no. I think I need to get the cord. All right, guys, I'll be right back. Let's get the cord. Those of you on Facebook, can you please go to YouTube? My phone is running out of juice, and I don't have a location close enough. Okay, please, I apologize. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the peppers in. Again, looking at the timing. Ooh, beautiful. Alright, so we put pepper, we have garlic, right? So I use adobo a lot, sin pimienta, which means it doesn't have the heat, even though I love the heat. But I'm cooking for me. I'm gonna put a whole pepper in here, but you don't have to if you don't like the heat. But I love my habanero in here. And you can smell it. And yesterday, the thing that is very, a big part of this dish is curry. Now, my Jamaican curry is done. I have somebody coming in, bringing me some from home. But you've got to put curry in here, okay? And, ooh, it smells amazing, okay? Yes, please go to YouTube. My battery is dying. Sorry, let's see. No bueno, Maggie. Display. Okay, we are just getting a little bit of that juice. Yeah. So this is only what's left. So go to YouTube. Ooh, yum. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit of water, not a lot. All right, so we did the adobo. I have cayenne. I'm not putting cayenne in. I have paprika. I use paprika a lot. You know, it's just red pepper, so don't be stingy. You can use that. So when you are plant-based, you want to be able to season your food. And if you notice, I haven't put any salt in, right? The blood pressure issue is real, you guys, okay? And I tell people, it doesn't matter how healthy you are, how thin you are. Don't think because you're healthy, you go into the gym, and you're doing all these good things that you may not have blood pressure, okay? High blood pressure kills so many people, especially people of African descent, because people refuse to take care of themselves. So even though you're eating right, you're exercising, you may still need to take your medication, okay? Please don't do that to yourself. Hypertension is something that happens to the arteries in your body. They get stiff. And if you have a genetic predisposition, it happens earlier. You have young people with hypertension, right? Because it's a genetic thing. But as you get older, things get old, they get stiff. So your heart has to pump a lot harder. And that's why your heart becomes enlarged and you get congestive heart failure. Take your medicine while you're exercising, watching your weight. The salt, decrease the salt. Use more herbs and things to flavor your food. Do you know salt is just like a baby? Remember when you had your baby and you were feeding them these things from the jar that had no taste? I couldn't believe how my kids were eating that. It's an acquired taste, just like sugar. So if you start pulling back, After a while, you're not gonna miss it. Okay? Trust me on this. I'm 66, so I know what I'm talking about, okay? Take your medicine. All right, but you know what? It looks good. But I found Slap Your Mama yesterday. I was at Tariba. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. I also saw, is it Bay or whatever? We have that. I saw all kinds of things at Reba yesterday. I mean, they're a little pricey, don't get me wrong. I don't shop there. So when I got to the cash register and they put my totals, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm at Reba Smith. I don't shop there usually. But yesterday I went to get okra. Oh, we're doing other dishes. Okra. I found fresh okra. And I bought 2 packages. That's the only place I can find okra. And they go bad fast. So I need to come up with something to do with them really fast. But oh, I love okra. Now, I don't like okra soup, which is it from Nigeria? I don't like the slimy. I should keep mine whole. Look at the chakalaka. Oh my God. Okay. Now, let us have a taste. But you know, the main ingredient in the chakalaka, we haven't put it, is the beans. Don't need to add salt. No salt needed. Because the adobo has a little bit of salt. So when you're using your spices, know what's in them so you don't over salt your food. Okay, so my quinoa is starting to dry up. So I'm going to turn the heat down. And we're going to let it, and then you're going to cover it, right? Sometimes people say, oh, you need to put foil before you cover it. You can. It's not going to hurt anything. All right. So let's go ahead and put our beans in. Now the curry powder is a little bit hot, so there's a little bit heat in there. But I also have some jalapeno. If I wanted it to be a little hotter, I could, but I'm not. I remember someone telling me when I was going to South Africa, it says, bring a good can opener. And I did, and I'm glad I did. Someone said the same thing about Panama. Did I get this here? I think I did. You know, I heard someone say yesterday that she shipped all her pots and pans to Panama. I didn't. I just can't. I'm a cook, but I could not understand paying thousands of dollars to bring pots and pans here. I'm not that attached. Last year when I was here, I spent 6 months here cooking out of a skillet. One skillet. And I made it work. You know, I think when you travel and you go to different countries, I'm going to put the little juice in here, okay? It gives you an understanding and an appreciation for the things of comfort that we have, that we take for granted. We can live with much less. And you know how they have the shows with the cooking on the beach? It's a good exercise for you to see. Can you live like that? Could you? And that's the sense of adaptability I spoke about, you know, in my videos. Being able to say, I don't need everything that I left to feel comfortable. I can be comfortable and happy with less. Don't you agree? That's what I believe. All right, chakalaka. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit. And when you're finishing your dish, every time you cook, finish it with a splash of fresh orange juice. It just elevates the dish, okay? Trust me on this. So, in Panama, regular lemons are super pricey. I think it took me a month to find some in the store. Of course, Reba Smith has them because they're pretty much catered to international people for a price, of course. But you can buy a bag or 10 of these lime for $1. Why not? So I only buy lemons once in a while, but I buy lime. All right. Yep. Quinoa is turn the heat down. And then I'm going to show you how I make the pita wedges. So let me move the chakalaka to the back burner. And then we're going to make pita wedges that you can use to scoop the chakalaka. Remember, it's a side dish. You can cook it, you can eat it with whatever you want, with rice. And every Caribbean cook has to have a pot like this. I had like 4 or 5, but I only have one here. When you're cooking your rice and peas, I can't cook it in anything else but this. It just doesn't come out right, okay? So I was super excited when I went to, where did I get that? Conway had those. And I was so happy. Because I felt like a fish out of water. I did my aluminum pan. Alright guys. Snap your mama goes back. You know what else I'm gonna add here? I love cumin as a dish. As a spice. I'm just gonna add a little bit. Cumin is like cloves. You don't need a whole lot of it because otherwise you'll mess up your dish. Alright. So, I go to the store here and I find this thing called, those are pitas integral. In Spanish means whole, like whole grain, integral. So just like you can buy oats, it will say integral. That means they haven't taken off the outer lining, which you want the whole thing. Whole grain. I think that's what it means, whole grain. Alright. So we're going to put the chakalaka in the back. Turn this heat down and cover it. Alright. Now, we're gonna squeeze a little bit of lemon into the chakalaka at the end. Okay. Wipe this a little bit. So, when you want to make pita wedges, like I said, I thought I was going to get like a French bread, slice them off, and then with the bruschetta, you just got the toasted little piece of bread and you can put anything you want on top. But when I went back to check on it, they were gone yesterday at Reba Smith. So, alright, so you take 1 pita. So if you take a pita, and then you can take the chakalaka, and you can make boats. I call those the boats, right? But if you want to make pitas, you cut them in half, and then you cut it again, and one more time. So if you're a serious cook, you want to have a chef's knife. I left all my knives at home. It's in my suitcase that's still back at home. And this is the closest I was able to find here, because the chef's knife is a little bit wider here, and you need that. That's your main piece of equipment, I guess you could say. So these are your pita wedges, okay? I'm going to throw them in here. Let's do 2. I'm gonna be hungry. And then we're gonna make an herb oil. Then we're gonna toast them in the oven. I'm not gonna stay here with you guys to do that because it's gonna take like 10 minutes. And then when I plate the chakalaka with the quinoa and the wedges, I'll put it on the plate and I'll show you. Okay, so we got pita wedges. All right, let's make the herb oil. So I also make my own salad dressing here. I haven't bought salad dressing anywhere here because again, I buy it in the store. It's in the bottle. How long has it been in the bottle? That doesn't make me feel good. All right. So we're gonna put some olive oil. Maybe a good tablespoon and a half. Then we're gonna put pepper. Little bit of salt, not a lot. I always put the salt in my hand first because I don't want to accidentally put too much in here, okay? So, pinch of salt. And now I'm gonna do the herbs. I have some dry oregano. When you're doing the herb oil, you don't want to use too many fresh herbs because they go in the oven, they're gonna burn, right? But I have been using a lot of, oh my goodness, what is it again? Rosemary. I always say romano because that's what they call it in Spanish, but rosemary, fresh rosemary. If you cook steak, you know, with the garlic, you put that in the oil and you baste it. Oh, so even though I don't eat meat, I've started using rosemary, and it's a game changer. Yep. Now rosemary is in the news. You can put it in oil for your hair. You can put it for your face. I'm telling you, if anything waits long enough, they're gonna be in fashion, right? So now I have some fresh thyme. A Caribbean chef always has thyme in her kitchen because we put it in everything. So when I say we make a bouquet garni, because remember, I went to school to cordon bleu. Cordon bleu is French cooking, classic French cooking. So they call something the bouquet garni. That means it's garnished bouquet in English. So you take cilantro with fresh thyme, you wrap them up and you throw them in the dish. It gets all its flavor to your rice and your stews, and then at the end you take them out. Tips and tips and tips. So I just love to just look at my kitchen and see what I have and say, I can come up with this, I can come up with that, and that's why I don't get in trouble. I don't get in people's business. I stay in my kitchen and mind my own business. I don't need to get into your stuff. All right. Let's chop. When you're chopping, you're using your knife. Always put your hand over here. That way it doesn't move and you get cut. You know, I haven't gotten cut in a long time. When I was a young cook, fresh out of school, I got it. And the chefs will tell you, it's not if, it's when you're gonna get your first cut. I remember almost slicing off my finger because I was trying to use one of those things that you do the cold cuts, and my finger got in there and that thing bled for 10 minutes. Whew. That was scary. All right. So we do our herb oil. A little bit more oil. All right. Turn the oven on. So, here is our herb oil. It's got all the fresh herbs in it. And so you just take that and you pour it over your pita wedges. And then you put them in the oven at 350 for about 10-15 minutes. Just look at them, check on them, rotate so they don't burn. All right. And then we are going to put them on, I put them on this tray, and it seems to work for me. 10-15 minutes, check it. Okay, let's get the chakalaka back. I mean, the smell is amazing. Look at that. Look at that. So I want y'all to go home and try and make it. And look at that. You have a can of cannellini bean, 2 or 3 carrots, 2 or 3 peppers, half an onion, some garlic, and some herbs. That's it. That's it. So that's easy. So I took the pepper out. Look at that. They're beautiful. Oh, yes. All right, lemon. You roll your lemon or lime just to loosen up the juices. So when you're picking lemon, don't pick the one that are hard. Pick the one that the skin is a little shiny, but the texture is not so rough, because then it's a lot easier for you to roll. Always finish your food with a splash of lemon or lemon juice. Fresh elevates the dish. Okay? So look at that. So that's your lunch, that's your dinner. I'm gonna even have some for tomorrow. All right, let's check on the quinoa. Quinoa. Look at this beauty. Look at that. Oh. All right, let's. Quinoa is one of the easiest things for you to cook. Okay? So I'm going to plate that for you so you could see what it could look like. Okay. I have these little dishes. I think somebody came here and gifted me with them. So usually when you do, you want to put in it and then you put it face down. And that's what the chefs do when they're cooking, and it looks so pretty. I also have some black mushroom. I don't know if anybody knows black mushroom rice, the black rice that Haitians cook. Yeah, I have a bag, and I will be cooking. Okay, here is your quinoa. Voila. See it? Okay. So make sure you go get some of those. Or you could use ramekins, right? Alright, so let's put our chakalaka. And when you are plating, you want contrast, right? In colors. So you don't want everything to look the same. Okay. So now you can decorate with a couple of slices of lemon or lime. And you could also use a side of veggies, you know, like steamed broccoli or some spinach. Those are the things you don't ever have enough of, okay? So we're gonna do that here. And I'm gonna get some cilantro. And of course, if my wedges were ready, I would put them on the side, because when you're cooking, you want to balance protein. Now, in this case, our chakalaka is our protein replacement because it's got the beans and stuff in it. And then you put your grains, which is your carbs, and you do your veggies. Okay? So, that could be one way to decorate this dish. Because you hear that, you eat with your eyes. You do. And we can do some things with plantains next time. Here we go. Chakalaka, black quinoa. Okay, so let's go have lunch. All right, guys, let's see if you had any questions for me. No. Michelle, I agree. I'm going back to my early days where I had very little, but I was free to travel and explore my options. Okay. Are we talking about retiring, or what are we talking about here? Yeah, you can live with little. I had a call from, a text or email from someone yesterday. You know, they're in a different country and they're in their 70s, and you know, that's why it's so important for you to choose well the first time. Because if you choose a country and then it doesn't work out for you, you can, if it's in the beginning, you know, go and find somewhere else. But doing that research up front is so important. And doing the scouting trip so you can really get a feel for the country. And a scouting trip is not you come for a week. A scouting trip should be about a month at least, so you can get a feel. You're not going to know about a place if you're just visiting for a week. It's not long enough. And of course, it takes money. But if it's something that's important to you, to me, it's worth it to pay the money. I had someone say, "Oh, I want to do my visa, but all those lawyers want money. Nobody wants to do it for less." And I'm like, they're not doing it pro bono. If you want to, if you want to repatriate somewhere else, you have to budget that you're gonna have to pay to get your visa. And here in Panama, you need a lawyer. You can't do it on your own. So that is part of the research and the getting ready. And that's why I say, if you need time to get your money straight, take the time. You can't cut corners on stuff like that, right? Let's see. Any other question? The simple life? Yeah. Here in Panama, you may not be able to stay in the city, even though there are some parts in the city that you can find that are cheaper. Now you need to find out, are they cheap and safe? Because again, I'm talking to single women. As a single woman, you have to make sure you live in a place where you feel secure, you feel safe. That's why a lot of us are in these big buildings, because there is 24-hour security. That's something that's important to us, right? We don't want to be, nobody's going to come and knock on my door if I don't get a call from security to say so and so is here. I've had them call me and say, did you order food? No, I didn't order food, so don't send somebody to my door. And if somebody knocks on my door, I don't know who you are, I'm not opening the door. So same thing, depending on where your money goes, some places may not be safe for you as a single woman. That's the way I feel. Now, if you feel you've done karate and you can, handle yourself, more power to you. More power to you. Less things, more experiences, tempo more. Budget below my means so I can stay mobile. Yes, definitely. Make sure whatever your monthly expenses are, that they're lower and you're able to put a little something to the side. Now, people here, you put the money on the side so you can travel a little bit, right? Maybe you go back home when you're really lonely, so you don't come here with nothing and then you're miserable and then you can't go. So when you get to that point, you're like, I'm going back home, because you didn't have time to go. When I moved to Florida from New York, I was so homesick in the beginning, but I made myself go back. And I remember going back one winter and I was like, oh no, I don't need to come back to that cold. And that kind of cured my loneliness right quickly. It's like, no, I don't miss it that much. So you have to budget with, so you can go back and check on the family. And then it kind of gives you a new perspective of what you left and what you got. So you could say, oh, I really like it over there, so I'm not missing it that much. So going back is important, and yet you have to budget for that. Okay? So I think I made a couple of trips last year I was in South Africa. So I went home for a month before I went to South Africa. So I wanted to, a month or was it 2 weeks, just to say goodbye, because I thought I was going to be gone for 2 years, but it didn't turn out that way. But that is really a part of going abroad. You need to go back so that you don't get so homesick and you want to just pack up and go. And that's the subject of my last video. You don't want to become an expat failure. Yeah, I talked about the plan B and plan C, because you never know. What if there is political unrest or something wherever you're going and you have to exit rather quickly? What is your plan B, right? So now I'm looking at my situation. I know if I were to get into trouble, I have people I can go back to at home. And some people don't, and I think you need to spend time creating or having relationships that if things don't work out, then you have somebody, somewhere to go. Because it's not like you're going to put your tail in between your legs and go back. It's like if something happens, not for the things that I mentioned in the video, because you didn't acclimate, you did not integrate in the community. But let's say you have some godforsaken illness and you can handle it here, or they're kicking all of us out or whatever, because we're still foreigners. We're foreigners in a foreign land. So you have to have people at home that will say, it's okay, you can come stay with me until you can get yourself together. So that is part of plan B, okay? So make sure you think about that. It's not just packing up and go, but the what ifs. It doesn't mean you're not fully committed to your new home. It just means you're being smart about life. Life can happen. Good morning, Miss Claude. Is it a guy? Claude Constant. I am late as usual, California. It's okay. That food looks good, doesn't it? Look at that. So when you go in plant-based, you don't have to feel deprived. And like I said, you eat with your eyes. If it looks good, make sure it tastes good now, okay? Because I don't do tasteless food. That's why I didn't like some of the food in Africa, because I'm like, don't put pepper sauce on my food. That is not. So onions, garlic, cilantro, parsley, rosemary, thyme. You know, start using those, and they're gonna elevate your dish. Mint, I use mint a lot. I just love mint, right? Pepper. Don't be afraid to use like habanero. Just put it in the dish just to get the taste off of the skin, and it just helps your food. If your food tastes good, you eat it, and you stick to that plant-based lifestyle. If the food looks good. I see people on some of the pages that I belong to, and I'm like, yeah, that looks dry. Are you gonna eat that? How is that? How does that taste? I'm a cook. I'm a chef. I can't stand food that doesn't look good or taste good. California. No, I am. Oh, you're a girl, Claude. Oh, from Haiti. Nice. I was talking. Oh, I didn't know that, Claude. Thank you, because I have a cousin named, we call him Claudie, but I think his name is Claude. Okay, unisex. Okay. I was telling him that I have a little bit of, now you know what this is, right? I got some Jojo. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to cook with it. This is something that we have at home in Haiti. It's a black mushroom. I'm afraid to serve it to people who are non-Haitian because I don't know who might have an allergy to mushrooms. But this is the thing. If you're looking on YouTube, you see the black rice. This is the thing that we use. You soak it, you get all the color out of it, and then you mix it with your rice with some green peas or and I found lima beans yesterday. I have been looking for lima beans for a year and a half, and I finally found some yesterday. So I can't wait to cook those with my. I have what is it that I got yesterday? Okra, and I found some bok choy, and I found some what is it? Brussels sprouts, which I love. So my mind is thinking, what am I going to cook? What am I going to create with those? So. Jojo, yes. All right. Well, you guys, I'm so happy you guys hung out with me today. And I'm here if you have any questions, because we have one of my girls here. She's going to go live at 12 my time. So I want to support her and watch her channel while I eat that good food. Look at that black quinoa. You guys need to try it. You know, you can have black quinoa, white quinoa, and red quinoa. And quinoa has protein. So even though I only have the kind of only beans here, you get protein here. If you want a plant-based lifestyle, make sure whatever you're eating besides salad, that you have some proteins, okay? You don't want to scringe on that because you need protein. Woo! My things are good. The chips are ready. Look at that. These are the chips. Okay? Why go plain when you can have color? So if you wanted to add some of those chips to your plate, ooh-wee. There you go. Look at that. And I have something, a recipe I call pico de guaco. It's like you do a pico de gallo and then you put aguacate. You put some, oh, why am I going blank? Avocado. That happens when you become middle-aged. There's a delay. Yep. So when you crave potato chips, make pita chips. Then you don't feel so guilty. Haitian food is the bomb. You got it. And you know, there's this thing going on now between Haitian food and Jamaican food. What do you think? Well, you know, of course I'm partial. I think we have a lot more variety, but the way they cook their rice is different from ours, but their rice still tastes good. They put coconut milk in all their rice. We don't put it in every single rice. And then we cook our rice with white rice with the legume. Legume is that vegetable mixed with meat. We cook rice with green peas. We cook rice with lima beans. We cook rice with all kinds of beans, white beans, red beans, kidney beans, you know. Grandu. Here in Panama, we have guandu. Guandu is grandules, which is that pigeon peas. And you can get them fresh here. When I go to Merca Panama, but it's a little pricey, but it's worth it because you can cook it, make what we call sauce pois. In Haitian, we take the beans, we cook them, and then we blend some of it, and we strain it, and then you put it back in the pot so it kind of gives a different consistency, and you can have that on the side with some rice. I think I'm going to make that for you one Sunday. So we have a date that I'm going to be here every Sunday at 10 o'clock. It may be something real simple. This was very simple. That, you know, I chatted a lot with you, but this was very simple. It did not take a long time to cook. But Haitian food takes a while. Nothing is cooked like spur of the moment. Nothing. It takes time. So that's why you can't be rushed, and that's why it's my therapy. Now, I don't cook a lot of Haitian food because some of the food is heavy and it's got a lot of oil and stuff, and because I'm eating differently, I don't eat a lot of that. But I can adjust it, you know, like bouillon, which is a kind of brothy, kind of soup-like thing. I make bouillon. And that soup that we make on January 1st, soup jumu, which is that squash soup, you have to have soup jumu for January 1st. I don't care if I'm plant-based, I'm having some soup. So, but it takes time. And if you're making that bean sauce with the beans, that takes a while. So there is no, you can't cut corners. You gotta take the time. Plant-based fun this Sunday. Oh, I love it, Temple. Yeah, we're gonna call it that. But you know what? I'm not committed to only plant-based. If there is anything you guys would like to see me cook, remember I cheat. I don't eat steak and stuff. I never have. So I'm not into that. I make sancocho, which is the soup, and that soup is the national dish of Panama. And I started making it and I perfected it. But I cook it with chicken. So you think if I make that soup, I'm not gonna eat that chicken? Yeah, of course I do. I don't have chicken sitting in my freezer, but if I make it, I'm gonna eat it. And that's the kind of thing. My mind is not like if I taste a drop of oil, oh my God, I'm committing the mortal sin. I don't think like that. I do not. And I've never been so rigid about food like that, right? I know something is not good for me, but if I like it once in a while, I'll have it. I have a croissant. I allow myself, like once a month, I'll have it with some coffee. But if that's going to send me to cardiac hell, come on. Anything in moderation. Don't deprive yourself so much of something so that then when you do get it, you binge, right? Because you've been deprived for so long. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, yeah. So if there's anything you'd like me to cook, I don't mind trying it. And again, one thing, I've never been a dessert person, so to speak, but I make these I call chocolate balls with dark chocolate and grains and nuts, and then you roll it, and it's a nice snack you can have with coffee and tea. Yeah, I'll make that one day. I would just sandwich that meal with lots of greens to keep your arteries different. You got it. Occasional, there's nothing wrong with occasional. You know, it's like I had a party not too long ago, and the ladies brought some wine. Now, I've never been a wine drinker, but I could have like one glass of wine. And there is a rosé here. I've been taking a swag of that. Every night I take a swag. That's not gonna harm me or anything like that. Yep. Okay, let's see. Which one? Which is raw? What are you referring to? Janie, what are you asking? What is raw? Nothing on this plate is raw. I just decorated with oh, the cocoa ball. I melt the chocolate. I use oats. Oh. Like I have oats. I toast the oats, and then all I add, I mix it all with the melted chocolate, and then I put the nuts. I put cranberries and raisins, and then as I'm rolling, I drop a little bit of coconut milk if I need it, just for the consistency. And then I just dust it in, no, I don't use any sugar. Sometimes you could put a little drop of honey, but you just need enough to roll it. No. And then I put them in the refrigerator so that they can firm up. The only thing that I cook is the oat, because I use whole grain, whole oats. It's really good. Yep. I'll make it maybe next week. I've been trying to make it, but every time I make it, I eat the nuts. So the nuts is never here for me to make it. Because nuts are good for you. You're supposed to have a mix of almonds and stuff like that once a day. And that's one of those things. When I start eating, I just don't stop, and it's not good. So I don't buy a whole bag. I just buy, I'm like, it's so good, so good. This, yep. But the thing, because I was never a sweet tooth, it's not like I'm missing the sweets. I know they use a lot of dates, and it's really expensive here. Um, so I'm not missing it, so I don't use it a lot. But this is good. I think I've seen some, but like a lot of things here, because it's not something that they're used to, it has to be imported, and it's a little pricey. But I've seen dates here. And then when I was in the States, I had a hard time finding them. I used to order from Amazon. Made soup jumeau for my senior center in January. Ooh, they loved it, didn't they? That soup jumeau, that legume, that rice, John, right? People lose their mind over that food. Seriously. And if you know how to make that soup, now Claude, you know that. I've seen some people make soup on YouTube, and I'm just so upset. I see them make it, and I'm like, how does that taste? Because what they do is they put Maggi and all kind of bouillons in there to get the taste. No, no, no. No. Yeah. Costco, you mean Price Mart? I'm pretty sure they probably have dates. Yeah. Oh, Arizona. Well, we have a store here in Panama called Price Mart, and it is the Costco of Panama. And it's the same thing, membership based. You got to get a card. It's only $35, but you could add someone else to your card, so you can have two people on your card for $35 for a year. So that's pretty good. Now I remember when I was at home, Costco and what was the other one? What was the other? I forgot the name of it. But that store when you go and you buy in bulk. But when you buy yourself, there's really no need for me to go. I go to Price Mart and I buy a bag of frozen berries, because I like berries in my smoothies and they're good for you. I don't buy the regular fruit. Here in Panama, pineapple, papayas, mangoes, those are abundant, and I prefer to do fresh. So I cut them up sometimes, put them in baggies, put them in my freezer, and then I put them in my smoothies. But the berries, fresh berries, are super expensive here in Panama because they don't grow it. It's imported. So I buy a bag. It might cost me $15, but it lasts a long time, so it's worth it. Yeah, Price Smart. It's the Sam's Club of Panama. We don't have Sam's Club here. Only Price Smart. Yeah, they do berries. I mean, think about when you go to Costco. Everything you see in Costco, you're gonna see here. And the lines. It's not just foreigners who go to Price Mart. The locals love it, and they have a whole area of sweets, cakes, and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, because diabetes is rampant here, if you can imagine, because of the way they eat, the rice and the pastries. Yeah, so it's like, whew, God help me. But the rice, I don't eat that rice because I'll go get the soup, and every time you buy it, they're like arroz. I'm like, no, gracias. No, they're always offering you white rice with everything. Yeah. But I went to a little store the other day called Foodie here in Panama City, and their berries were affordable. So, but Reba Smith and all the other stores, berries are super expensive. If you want blackberries, that's like what? Because they're not used to that here. It's pretty much foreigners who use those. They do have strawberries. They do have strawberry farms here. So strawberries are not bad. Pineapple, they have the best pineapple. Someone said that Hawaii has the best pineapple, but I find that Panamanian pineapples are really good, really sweet, and they're not as humongous as the one you would buy in Walmart at home because they don't have all that stuff pumped into them, and they're really good. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? I'm so happy you guys hung out until now. That's wonderful. So if there's anything you want me to do next week, just send me a note. But if not, I was thinking of doing the choco balls and maybe an avocado toast. That's easy. Avocados are not in season right now in Panama, just like mango. We just passed that window of May, June, July. But because we're in Central America, they can import from Peru and Mexico and other things. So, mm, Walmart, we don't have Walmart here. We have, let's see, if I have a store that was says comparable to Walmart. Now, in terms of, we have stores like Conway. It's mostly clothing and shoes and accessories on the main floor. The second floor, they have furniture and some household item. One other store that I noticed here that is more like a Lowe's, it's called Discovery Center. It's humongous. And you think you're like in a Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot rolled into one. So if you think about that, okay? But they don't have food like a super Walmart. So stores like Super 99, they vary in size depending on the location. And inside a Super 99, you're gonna have lots of food options. There is an eatery where you can get hot food. People eat here. They sell a lot of bready stuff. And then they have a good household section where you could buy things for your home, detergent, and they even have like a toy area for kids. You buy lots of toys. So that is the closest store that I think I could think like a super Walmart kind of thing. But they don't sell clothing, so it's not quite like a super Walmart. Again, when people ask me about cost, I say location, location, location. Okay, if you are in an area that is like very middle class and in a high rise, all the high rises have security. Okay, most we call those the PH. Don't ask me what the PH stands for. Nobody can tell me. But it's called a PH and there's a name after it. They all have 24-hour security, so you don't have to worry about that. But the area itself may not be, what you consider to be up and, or safe, I guess. You could find a 1 to 2 bedroom might cost you between $8,000 and $1,000, right? So if you come to an area like Avenida de Balboa, you are in El Cangrejo, you are in Paitilla, you are in Punta Pacifica, those are all neighborhoods. Remember, Panama City itself has 26 different neighborhoods. We call those corregimientos, okay? So every neighborhood has its own little flavor, right? It's like if you're in New York City, it's like Little Italy, Chinatown, a little bit like that. But depending on the area, if they have a lot of expats, then the prices tend to go higher. And the closer you are to the ocean, my apartment, I look directly on the ocean. So you're paying about, they don't have too many one bedrooms in this area, but a two-bedroom apartment around here would cost you between $1,400 to $2,000, okay, a month. And that's usually furnished. If the apartment is unfurnished, it tends to be a bit lower, like $200, maybe $1,000 lower. But I did not want to deal with having to go buy furniture, have it delivered. Listen, I want you all to remember, the prices tend to be a bit higher because Costa de Leicester, it's like they think they're like in the Hampton or something. So you're gonna pay. So when you come here, you go to Encuentra 24, that website, or you go to a realtor and you say, this is my budget. I'm looking between $1,000, $1,200 a month. Show me what you got. I'm a single woman. I don't want to be in a place. I want people to say I want to be a place where I can walk, access to metro, to the store. And that realtor knows. And that's why when you work with someone you trust like that, it's a lot easier for you to find what you want quicker. Okay? So it comes furnished. Water is included. Usually you have to pay for your internet, about $50 a month. You got to pay for electric. Now, electric in the city, you have to watch how you use electric because you can't have it on all the time. Electric is a little bit expensive here in the city. In the interior, they tell me it's not so much, okay? So you don't need to keep all your units on at all times. You turn the AC on in the room when you're there. When you leave, you turn everything off. There is no thermostat that is set like you used to in the state, and you say 75, and it's all the time, and then it shuts off. Not like that. Each unit, usually in the rooms, you see a unit. You have a remote. Thank God, you could just turn it on, turn it off, and then you control the temperature like that. Some places have fans, some don't. Like I don't have fans. I wish I did. I'm from Florida. I had fans in every single room in my house, and it helped control my cost. But we don't have that here. But you may have some old Panamanian homes with fan, but that's not a thing. No, doesn't include internet. If you find an apartment from a Panamanian outside the city, it might, but that's not usual. Internet and your cable usually are together, like this company. If you watch my video about getting settled, when you go in there, you say, I want internet and my cable. I'm paying $48 an hour for that. So that's not that's not bad. Anything else? Any other questions, you guys? Yes, I love my building. It's secure. You get set with your finger touch when you go in and out, to go in the gym, to go to the pool. Yeah, but I'm in those streets almost every day, so you got to, I got robbed. You saw my video, so I have to be careful where I go. Certain neighborhoods, you have no business walking there by yourself. Certain areas in Panama City, people talk about Colon, but there is San Miguelito. They have other places. You stay out, especially if you're a single woman. You don't need to be exploring over there. Yeah, but electric for me, let's see. I have a two-bedroom, two-bath, and of course it's just me. There's nobody else using my my AC. Lately, I noticed that I've been running the AC a lot more because it's so humid, right? But if I'm not at home, sometimes I spend the whole day out. the AC is out, right? If I'm going away, and I have somebody coming and checking the apartment, the AC is out. I pay, and remember, when you're a jubilada, you retire, you get the pension out of visa. When you go set up your electric, you ask for the discount. You get 25% off your electric bill. And that mine comes up to about, I pay between $60 and $70 a month for electric. I was paying a whole lot more than that in Florida, I can tell you that. Yeah, I have a whole playlist about moving to Panama, and then once you come to Panama, how to get settled in. Yeah, you need to watch those. Air quality, not bad, not bad. I remember watching somebody in Manta, Ecuador. Jewel was posting the air quality, and you can check it every single day. There is an app or a website where you can. It's not bad for a city that is so dense and congested. Now, last year we had issue with the landfill was burning, and that created poor air quality because you could wake up and you open the glass door and you see the smog and you're like, uh-oh, one of those days you shut it down. You shut the door right away, right? But I think a couple of times when I was going out, I wear a mask, but it's cleared up and I don't have any problem with that. In my apartment, I don't have an issue with air quality. And like I said, on a regular day, it's not an issue at all. Oh, good. You need to come for a visit. I love Panama too. I mean, can you tell I love Panama? People say I'm biased. Somebody sent me a note said you should have tried Mauritius when you are going to Africa. I didn't think about Mauritius. I tried to go to the Seychelles. At one point, I even wanted to work there as a nurse, but the minister or whoever did not give me the time of day. And then you hear about Seychelles and Mauritius and places like Madagascar. A lot of them don't see themselves as being part of Africa, because they're like off in the Indian Ocean. They're not, in the territory close on the ground. And, because they're so mixed, some of them look like mulattoes and very different. And then in Mauritius, the Indians are so, it's like Indian country and Buddhism and all kinds of stuff. So as a black person, you're in Africa, but you're a minority in those places. And you hear of stuff going on. And I'm like, eh. And that's the thing. When you're retiring, there's some things, I just want to reduce the possibility of me having to deal with racism and everything like that. And that's why I'm here, because racism is not an issue here in Panama. People will tell you classism is the rich and the poor, such a big difference. But people don't look at you because of the color of your skin and imagine that you're going to rob them and you're subhuman like we do at home. No. Is my apartment soundproof? I doubt it. I don't think so. In fact, I started hearing, my building, I think was built maybe 12, 13 years ago. It is solid, okay? Concrete. And somebody upstairs in the apartment in the piso above me, I started just hearing them walking. It's like boom, boom. And I'm like, unless you're an elephant, I should not be hearing you walking. So it became so annoying. Yesterday I was sitting there trying to work on the computer. So I sent a text to the office downstairs and I'm like, I don't know who's upstairs, but this is unsustainable. This is so disruptive. I don't know. I mean, I didn't say they were big or whatever, but there is no way anybody could be walking on these concrete floors and for me to be hearing you boom, boom, boom. And I haven't heard them today, so maybe they talk to them. I pray, because it was really becoming an annoyance. I want to live in a country where my fellow humans feel good too. Well, people feel good here in Panama, and they'll tell you People have such a sense of family, and they love their country, they love their folklore, and you know, it could be seen as a negative for some people, but they enjoy life. They don't see that life is all about work, work, work. The average Panamanians say, I go to work and then the weekend I party. I hang out with my friends. I go with my family. I go to the beach. I mean, we have so many carnival and fiestas and stuff here. It's insane. It's insane. So life in Panama, quality of life is, oh, I mean, what we need, you know, is more jobs for people, services. You know, they're developing. We have issues. But the fabric of the country is positive. So I know what I left, so I appreciate what we have right now. Oh yeah. Oh no. Jamie, what do you say? Oh no. Am I a beach person? Not really. That's why I'm in the city. We don't have any beach access in the city proper. But if you want to go to a beach where you can fold your chair and hang out, we have, but they're outside the city proper. The closest beach here is like a 30-minute ferry ride to go to Taboga Island. Otherwise, you're driving like an hour, hour and a half to go to a nice beach. Yep. So, yeah, you know, they have some communities that are on the beach. Like you go to Pedersea, you go to Playa Venal, and then you go to Coronado, and all these places are beach town. When you open your door and it's just beach. I'm looking over the water here, but it's not. I can go to the beach. I don't mind driving to go to the beach and then come home, but that's not a draw for me to say I want to be on the beach every day. Not me. But we have several people. People are beach person, some are mountain person, some are city people. And this is why Panama is such a draw, because there is something for everyone depending on your taste. But what I'm saying for my group, for my ladies who are in my age group, is that you are a single woman. You love the beach, yes, but what amenities do you have? Do you have access to medical? And most of the time, you don't in the beach communities. So, what's more important to you? I'm not a beach person, no. Do you have suggestions for learning Spanish in US? I'm trying to find something. Well, you know, you have Rosetta Stone, you have Duolingo. A lot of people start that way. If you are in a community where there is a high Spanish population, some of the community colleges have classes at night that you can go to, because you can start online getting the basics, the vocab, the sentence structure, but then once you need to have that one-on-one, and also they have tutors online. But start with the basic, with Rosetta Stone, Duolingo, and then get a tutor online, because the biggest thing for people is the speaking part. So I learned Spanish when I was in high school. In Haiti, we had to learn English, Spanish, French was the official language. We learned that since we were like in kindergarten. But Spanish and English were mandatory. They were not electives, okay? So by the time I graduated from high school, I had a good understanding of Spanish and English. I could write essays, I could write beautifully. When I came to the US, it took me a while to get my ear to understand English. I could write it, but I could not hear it. Just like here, it's going to take time. And of course, I'm older, probably going to take longer. Okay? So, once you want to learn the language, here, I have the TV on all day. I'm watching the news. CNN is in Espanol. And I watch movies. I just want to train my ear to just keep hearing it. And the other thing I'm sorry to tell you, Spanish is regional. Spanish you learn from Spain. That's why when you're looking for a tutor, don't look for a tutor who is from Spain. The Castellano, what they're going to teach you is not what you need here. In Panama, there are some nuances with the Spanish. You go to Colombia, some things are spoken a little bit differently. The Mexican Spanish is a little bit different. The Mexican from Puerto Rico is a little bit different. But just get the basics, and then once you become fluent, you can understand the nuances, okay? But I think if you want to expatriate to Panama, you need to start learning some Spanish at home. At least think when you get to the airport, when you go to a restaurant, when you go buy food, those are the things you need to learn to speak, uh, when you first get started. January 25, welcome Terry. I look forward to seeing you. If we can, we plan to sample the area for fun instead of where you feel most comfortable. Yes. I came to the city in 2023. I stayed for 6 months. And in that 6 months, I explored the whole country. Okay? I did a 6-month lease, which I encourage people to do that, because I was talking to a woman the other day. I said, just lease for 6 months. She's like, why? It's almost like she was like, are you trying to keep me from enjoying? I'm like, no. I'm saying even in the city, you can, if you get a lease for a whole year, let's say you have someone like I'm talking about who is noisy. If it's a 6-month lease, it's easier for you to say, okay, after 6 months, I'm out of here. What happened for me after 6 months, where I was, it was super noisy. The taxis in Panama City, drivers, they communicate with the horn, okay? Somebody said if it's a short horn, it's like, watch out. If it's a long horn, that means I'm pissed off. So, your pulpit, you're hearing this all the time. I was like, and I want to be in the city, but I don't like a lot of noise. So after 6 months, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm not renewing. See what I'm saying? So we do 6 months, and then you may want to move around. So don't tie yourself up. People say, oh, why didn't you buy instead of renting? Because I don't know the country. I don't know where I would want to be. Why would I come visit, and on my first getting here, I go and I buy something? What if I'm stuck in a place I don't like, with neighbors I don't like, with noise? Come on. To me, that makes sense. But some people feel like you're trying to keep something from them if you tell them. I'm like, don't ask me if you don't want me to tell you. Oh, you're welcome. You didn't use your location services? Nope. Nope. Listen, I'm cheap, okay? These things cost almost $2,000 for somebody to herd me from here and there. I like to do things on my own time. That's why last year, I came to Panama 3 times before I settled. So every time I came, I wanted to see a different part of the country. Okay? That's how it gives you a feel. You don't want to come 3 times and be a tourist 3 times. That makes no sense to me. And then last year, I said, okay, I look at the map. Panama is not big. Somebody said you can get in your car from one end to the other in 8 hours. So that is not a big country, right? It's a narrow stretch of land. It's long and it's narrow. So I look at the map and I said, I want to go start here in Panama City. I want to go here. I want to go here. I want to be there. For 3 weeks, I just scoured the whole country. I went from this community, that, all by bus. Panama has a great bus system. I mean, they're not all fancy and with AC. When you get to the smaller town, you're in these little, buses. But you know what? I love all that. For me, that's the whole experience of the country. So I went to Coronado. I didn't like it. I went to Penenome, loved it. I went to Chitre. I went to Las Tablas. I went to Pedesi. Then I took the bus to David. I went to Boquete. I went to Bocas del Toro. I get a feel for the country. And when I got to Chiriquí in the west, I was like, oh, because the mountains, the air is fresh. I was like, oh, I'm gonna move here to Serra Punta. But then I had to say, okay, Maggie, back off. You're a single woman. I'm not that handy with anything. I need to have services around me. I need to be able to pick up the phone if I have an emergency, and you're gonna be here with the natives in a community by yourself. And I'm like, That doesn't make good sense for me. And then I kept sending messages to different Facebook, and I'm like, how is that area? How is that area? And somebody's like, why would you want to come over there? They have home invasions. And I'm like, you know what? And in addition with the critters, you know, snakes and boa constrictors and stuff, I'm like, you know, mm-mm, mm-mm. So that's why you want to give yourself the time. Know thyself, know what you want. If you're a beach person, as I said, we have beautiful beaches, probably a lot cheaper. You can rent like a house for like $600 on the beach, but that's all they have. They may not have taxis. They may have one store. If you need to go anywhere, you have to walk to the main road and get a bus. I'm retired. I don't want to live a rustic life like that. So know thyself. But it's all here for you. Explore the country. Don't keep yourself to one area because you don't know whether you're going to like it or not. That's why a lot of people come here and they build these beautiful homes on the beach and then they get sick. And then the house is left. You've heard in Panama, it's easy to buy, very hard to sell. People have homes on the market for 4 or 5 years and can't get rid of them. And when you die, your kids may not even want to come here to deal with the mess. So you have a beautiful home just sitting around. But I don't want it. I don't want that responsibility. You can try to sell it to me. I don't want it. I don't want it. Ah, Terry, twice. Good. Much cheaper to that exploring. Well, it was cheap for me because buses here, the most I've paid on a bus is from Panama City to David with the jubilado discount again that you get. I paid like $11 one way for 7-hour ride. If you're going anywhere around here, you're taking $1, $1.50, $2, $3. That's it. Of course, you can fly to David. You can fly to Bocas del Toro. You can fly to Pedasea area. We have a regional airport, but I don't like those little rickety airplanes either, so I'm good. Snakes. Well, we got snakes. We got scorpions. We got boa constrictors. We have, what is it that they have in Chiriquí? The iguanas. The iguanas are like pet dogs. They're all over the place. I think I'd be okay with the iguanas. But boa constrictor, this guy I was talking to him, he's between Chitre and Las Tablas. He said, yeah, we've seen a couple of boa constrictors. And I'm like, I don't know. I'd have to run somewhere. Knowing that's in my neighborhood, I can't. And you know, in these high rises, the higher you are, the less likely you're going to see bugs. I saw one mosquito the other day here. I haven't seen a roach. They have some big birds that fly over, but they never come into the house. I've had some moths and, what's the other word for that? You know, but I don't have critters here. The older you are, the less likely you're going to have critters. That's what you need to know. Don't just look at the beauty of the place. What else is going on? This lady said she got bit by a scorpion in her shower. Yes, it wasn't poisonous, but can you imagine? No. I know I don't want that. Yeah, and some people don't like the height. Listen, I was in New York. I had an apartment on the second floor. That was okay. After that, we've had houses. And then I came to Florida, everything is to the ground, no high rises, right? I'm like, oh no, when I retired, I don't want to have to push a button, get an elevator to get to my house. Guess what I'm doing now? So don't say never. You never know. I remember seeing older people in Brooklyn, in the city of New York, and I was like, why do I like to live like that? But you know what? You live on a floor, you have 2 or 3 ladies on the same floor, you guys just knock on each other's door, you hang out, that's good. You can check on each other. Are you okay? Can I bring you some soup? That's the way you grow old, and that's what I'm trying to do here in Panama, so that we feel supported, that when we are, because we're getting older and maybe our hip went out of joint or whatever, then somebody can come and do something for you, would help you hold you while you walk to the bathroom, because these are the kind of things that are going to happen as you get older. It's great when you're young and independent, but for us, it's only a matter of time before something happens, right? All right, I think my battery is going on this one too. Any other questions, you guys? Otherwise, we'll see you next week at 10 o'clock. I'll make the choco balls and I'll think of something else. And if you want something else for me to cook, you just need to let me know. Just make sure something I can eat. No steaks, but I could do some chicken wings. Uh, Thank you so much. Yeah, it's not easy, but we're trying. All right, Claude, so nice to see you. I'll see you guys next week, okay? God bless you. Bye. Mwah.